Today I'm going to take you through Twain workflows, specifically how to import a segment from HubSpot, have Twain generate sequences as well as expanded research on this specific segment, and then automate the process of exporting these contacts that you have done research on and generated sequences for in Twain to your CRM of choice, in this case HubSpot, but also to showcase that the export can be done to sequences like Instantly, the Growth Machine, Smart Lead, to name a few. To showcase this, we're going to jump straight in and I'm going to go to Twain's workflow builder. And what you'll see here is you're prompted to connect a lead source. Now you have two options, HubSpot and API. API is essentially going to be for those use cases where you're pushing contacts through from clay tables. And for the sake of this example, I'm just going to be using a HubSpot use case. So prior to selecting your segment here, just ensure that you have authorized access to HubSpot so that you can see the segments show up when you select HubSpot as your sync of choice. What you'll see here is my preset segment that I created in HubSpot. Essentially, the goal from this campaign is to re-engage leads that have been marked as closed lost or that have been inactive over the last 180 days. Now, I'm going to map the relevant custom fields. And importantly, what I'm also going to do is import conversation history so that I have all the relevant context to essentially reference information from emails, calls, and notes as additional context. So I'm going to toggle this on and I'm going to click continue. Now, it's important that you have set up your campaign in Twain prior to instigating and starting your workflow. And in this case, I'm going to reference a campaign called Close Lost Revival. So I'm going to select this, and now we will be prompted to either generate a sequence and spend a credit there, or spend a credit on running expanded research. Now, I really want to enable my sales team on both fronts, so I'm going to select both, and then I'm going to click on continue over here. Now, here you get the option of syncing to various different platforms. We obviously have HubSpot, which we're going to do today, but you have access to HeyReach, as well as Instantly, the Growth Machine, Lemlist, Salesforce, and Smart Lead. You also have the option to skip if you would like to select your export platform or destination platform at a later stage. We know that we want to be working with HubSpot, so I'm going to select HubSpot, and I'm going to go ahead and map the fields that I want pushed across after my workflow has done its work. So I'm just going to, for the sake of this example, only map step 1 to 3, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to click on continue over here. Now, I also do want to be reminded and given a heads up once this workflow is executed on. So I'm going to click a daily reminder at 4 p.m. as well as being notified on Slack through a Slack channel that I've set up. So this is just called Test Slack app. And again, if you haven't set up this connection before, you will just be prompted to go through the necessary authentication steps with Slack. So here you also get an option to choose the frequency at which these notifications push through, and I'm going to opt for a daily summary. Now we're going to click the exciting step, which is create the workflow. And what you'll see here is our beautiful workflow laid out from the section where we're importing our leads, i.e. HubSpot, the action that we want the workflow to take in terms of writing a sequence, running the research, and then here we have the option to export leads to HubSpot, which we've just gone through. Now, you can make changes as you see fit to any of these steps over here, as well as making adjustments to where you want to export these leads to and how you want to export them to. So for the sake of this example, I'm also just going to showcase that here you can add instantly, select a campaign. So maybe you want the research and I guess an indication of what emails have been created in HubSpot, but you also do want a drip campaign to go through on instantly if that is your sequencer of choice. So I just wanted to showcase that. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to refresh my segments and add a couple of contacts to it so I can show you how these leads push through in workflows. Now what you'll see is that our leads are being processed, specifically the leads that match the criteria outlined in our segment in HubSpot. And you'll notice that we have the familiar warnings being triggered that would deem a prospect to not be a good fit for this specific campaign or to be pushed through to HubSpot or instantly in our current workflow. And what you'll notice here is that we can make adjustments to these segments by skipping leads with certain warnings and ensuring that the right people land in CRM and obviously in our sequencer too. Now, if I were to have a look at how these leads show up in the campaign itself, we can also just click on the lead in question, and here you'll see all the information, the sequence we've generated, as well as the conversation history that we discussed earlier on in the call. Ultimately, this sequence will run automatically if you choose it to be active. But yes, this I guess was just a run through to show you exactly how this workflow works as a HubSpot export use case. Let me know if you have any questions. Have a good one.